My name is Abbey. I'm a senior this year, and I completed my paper last year when I was in AP Biology, where I studied briefly different parts of the eye, but nothing really in depth. So I chose to do my paper on diabetic retinopathy. The main reason probably is because I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I thought that I should know about possible future complications and treatments and treatment development. So before I started, really, there was a great deal of background research just because I wasn't familiar with the different parts of the eye that all my studies were talking about. Wasn't really familiar with laser treatments and how they worked. So after all that, I eventually narrowed my research down to the molecular components of pathogenesis and also a lot about treatment and when different types of treatment were appropriate. And I probably ended up narrowing my topic down to those two things just because it kind of joined science with creative thinking because you have to think outside the box sometimes when you're dealing with diseases that progress like this that are different for each person. And overall, I think I learned a lot about it, and I also learned that it's not as a big of a problem as you might think just because early detection and treatment can stop progression, and that treatments are always improving. So I guess I finished it a little hopeful about what's going to happen with me down the road. Probably the most time-consuming and most difficult to get motivated for was reading all my studies, just because every other line there was a new term that I didn't know that I had to look up. But actually, by this fifth or sixth study, I pretty much could read through the whole thing and understood it without having to go online or open up a dictionary. But once I got past learning the different terms, the hardest part probably was that I couldn't really put down a study in the middle, because I would forget. I just couldn't pick up where I left off, kind of. Once I sat down, I had to really spend a couple hours and make sure I could finish it and summarize it. And the summaries weren't too bad, actually, besides the fact that it was hard to find a balance between, I had to use the advanced terms within the study when doing my summary, but I had to do even more research to figure out a different way to say it, for the actual summary. The quotes were easy. It was really easy to see what needed to be taken exactly from the study. That wasn't the hard part. The harder part was my own summary. So overall, though, I mean, as long as my advice is to pick something that's related to you, just because if you're not motivated to learn about it, then you're not going to you're not going to try and find the best articles. You're not going to be motivated to research in the right places. I had to go to a couple different libraries to find current information and things like that. I loved that there was the format that we were given in the SLR book. I love that there was a format, but then the reason why I ended up being able to write about so much and have 23 pages of a lot of information was because I put my own creative spin on it. I guess just taking it in a direction that you want to go is what will end up with the best paper that you can write, I think. I think I learned a lot about, I didn't know anything about eyes before. And obviously, I learned how much there is to study just within one process. So, I'm not an expert, but I think I definitely have a handle on all the different treatment options and also where treatment's going. I'm actually undecided, but I would love to end up doing some sort of medical journalism, just writing about new developments. So, and that was pretty much what this was. So, so I might end up pre-med actually, but we'll see.